As we continue the series, we're gonna kind of like explore different genres. There might be hip hop, maybe a Biggie Smalls in there.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Avila with SYFY Wire, and today I'm talking with Megan Hutchison, the co-creator and artist behind Rockstars, one of the most interesting and inventive new comic books on the market right now from Image Comics. Megan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, to me, Rockstars is like this rock and roll fable. I had mentioned to you earlier, I made a Streets of Fire reference,
yes,
which went completely over your young head. But it very much feels like a rock and roll fable, and like what the X-Files would be if Scully and Mulder were assigned to the rock and roll urban legends beat.
That's exactly it. It's like X-Files meets Almost Famous. That's kind of what we pitch it to people as.
It's a good one. It's a good pitch. So tell me about how you and Joe Harris put the ideas for the story together. The first arc was set in a great era for a book like this in the 70s during the height of the classic rock period. And now your current arc is in the 80s in heavy metal. So how did each of those arcs and those story ideas come about?
When I actually met Joe in a bar at Emerald City Comic Con, okay, where all good meetings happen. And he kind of pitched me the story. He's like, I want to do a rock and roll comic book, and he loves 70s music. And I love the occult, so I was like, this might work. And then we were on the same flight back to LA, and I basically just sat in front of him and I was like, tell me this story. I think how it kind of evolved is like, he's definitely like more into like the rock music, and then I kind of brought that like mythical element to it, and then we just kind of married them together. And our idea is that like there's a through line through all of it, which is like the the evil underworkings of the music industry, and essentially it's controlled by demons, which we all know. So we wanted to have that portrayed throughout music history. So we always had it as an intention that each arc would be a different music genre. We started with the 70s and then moved on to the 80s, which is definitely like the music that I grew up on, like heavy metal. There's like a lot of Iron Maiden and Man of War references in there.
And lots of, which that era is loaded with satanic and occult like references too.
And, and that was a big point for me too, because I grew up during the satanic panic and I really wanted that to be a part of it. As we continue the series, we're gonna kind of like explore different genres. There might be hip hop, maybe a Biggie Smalls in there.
So
maybe.
One of the things I like in the first story arc, like right off in the first couple of pages, your artwork reflected on some of the classic urban legends we've heard. The connection between the Dark Side of the Moon and The Wizard of Oz. If you sync up the album, it plays perfectly with the film. And I love the clever references you make with the artwork in that the Paul is Dead legend surrounding the Beatles. How much fun do you guys have coming up with those, and you as the artist figuring out where you want to place them and how you want to do it? Because you obviously have to take a certain amount of caution. Like the band in the first arc, Blue Rider, has nothing to do with a real band. So how do you guys figure that out, and where do you say, you know what, that's a fun thing to put in there?
I think both of us just kind of nerd out on that stuff. So we do a lot of research and kind of find what are like the little hints that we can put in, like as Easter eggs for people who are also rock nerds. Just try to hide it enough that we won't get sued, but drop it in there as something fun for the readers, because a lot of the readers that we have aren't your typical comic book readers. A lot of them are really into rock and roll. And we just did a signing in Houston, and it was just all rock fans, like people coming in with their AC/DC shirts and like their, like their Alice Cooper shirts, and like they're like, oh, I love it. I love rock music, and I love that you have all this mythos in it, and so that's kind of what we're gearing towards as far as like hiding that stuff. It's for the music nerds.